Mayor Rybak, welcome back to the committee. You can go ahead.
Madam Chair.
President Johnson.
Madam Chair, thank you very much for inviting us back today, and you gave us several tasks to wrap up before we came back. And as Mr. Bagley said, we did accomplish our meeting with the Vikings. We thought that we exchanged information and didn't encounter any significant roadblocks to either of the sites, were mainly the main part of the discussion. You also told us to choose a site. Senator Michelle was very direct about that, and so we're prepared today to recommend a site and then also further discuss our finance plan. So I'll turn it over to the Mayor.
Good. Thank you very much, Council President Johnson, Madam Chair. 3 issues that you were asked to resolve: to talk with the Vikings, to narrow the site, and to lay a financing strategy on. We have made significant progress on all levels. We have not solved any of those issues, but we are significantly closer than we were a week ago and confident in a partnership that we see a path to close the gap. First, our meeting with the Vikings we thought was very productive. We very much appreciated and thank you publicly, as we thanked you privately, for what we thought was a very constructive discussion. We got into some very good details about the many different needs that the Vikings have and that we have. We talked through all sites. They took none off the table, want all to be explored in some way, and we agree with that. We also said that we had been asked to narrow that, and I'll do that in 1 minute, but continue to make progress on that. We talked about financing options and multiple others. It was a first discussion in a while, but I would say a very productive one. Toward the second point of narrowing it to sites, while we do see potential in all 3 and will continue to do those, we spoke with the Vikings at that point and now want to say to you publicly that our preferred site is the Metrodome. We believe that's significant because it does save, according to the numbers that I just heard, about $215 million from the other site on the table. With all the discussion that has taken place in this room about how difficult it is to fund a stadium, we think it is very important to look for a stadium at an option that is proven at a cost of $215 million less for the state of Minnesota. Those are real dollars, and it matters. It's also a site that we believe has demonstrated itself as able to handle these crowds, and a significant infrastructure. One of the many things we talked about with the Vikings was the idea of having a game day experience that was enhanced from what we have now. We agree, and so we've done a lot of thinking on the idea of how to deliver a game day experience that is even more enhanced than we currently have. Toward that end, we have begun discussions with the owners of the Armory, which is just 2 blocks from the current Metrodome site. The Armory, which is a clear span building, it was good enough for George Mikan at the Lakers to play there, and we believe it would be a great place for an event center field house that on game days could be the center point of a new game day experience before and after the game. We see the pre- and post-game being concentrated along an enhanced 4th and 5th Street, centered at the Armory, and allowing there to be both tailgating, food trucks, and multiple other options that create a true fan experience. It's a different one than we had talked about in Arden Hills, but one that we think begins to address that core issue. The Metrodome does have many advantages. Cost is certainly one of them, but we also believe it is has the potential to be an extremely successful new home for the Vikings, but one that uses existing infrastructure already in place. This issue is tough enough to solve. We should try to take every reasonable and smart shortcut we can, especially those that save money. We don't have to dig the hole. We don't have to do part of the seat alignment in all of that. But we do have the plan that will create all of the revenue options that are necessary for the Vikings. As you heard from their testimony, a stadium is also about the quality of a team and the viability of a team. One of the reasons to do this is that the stadium currently is not producing the revenue that's necessary to compete with others who are in that position. The clearest way we can understand that is simply Target Field. Target Field created the new revenue streams that allowed them to put a more competitive team on the table. All those revenue streams are included in the new plan we have for the Metrodome site. We also believe that the Vikings can't get into that site more quickly, and so that new revenue will come to the team more quickly. There are costs associated with them. This one significant one is the cost of moving temporarily to TCF Stadium. That's a significant issue. We talked about that with the Vikings, and no one should sweep that under the rug. It's a significant issue. There are, however, enhancements that could be made to TCF Stadium. Those are enhancements that would accrue not just to the Vikings, but to the University of Minnesota. Those all should be factored in. We need to explore those and put those on the table. But in general, we believe that we will come in significantly under where any other site could be with a great experience. The final point is we're not asking for virtually any public money to go into infrastructure. It is already there. There are 2 light rail lines here at the intersection of the lines that one goes to the airport, the other goes to the University of Minnesota and through the Central Corridor, where there could be a sports spine that will allow a bar or restaurant along University Avenue to say, walk out our front door and go to see a professional hockey game, a game in the University of Minnesota, a baseball game, or a football game. We believe that's a good way to enhance that. The final point is the financing plan. The key to the financing plan in our situation is to be able to deal with the revenues that are already on the table. You asked us not to impose new taxes, and so we went to an existing source. This is obviously one that requires a great deal of discussion, and I can't do it quickly in a short time, but I'll give you a top-line overview. The plan involves using the existing revenue that is dedicated to the Minneapolis Convention Center funding and marketing. We have laid out a plan that in later years, after bonds are paid off, begins to free up some dollars. There is a sacrifice here. The sacrifice is we're putting less capital than we would like to into our convention facilities and our convention marketing. We spent a lot of time looking at this and believe this is something that we can do. And so over the life of the plan, it would talk about doing $300 million, $200 in present day value, toward our public contribution. That is a significant contribution. It does not yet flow as we would like it to. There is a gap in the early years, and there is more than we would need in the later years. So we'll need to continue to work with folks here on a way to put that together. We had a good meeting with Senator Rosen and Senate Majority Leader Koch earlier and their teams, and went over some of those. We're looking forward to when we have more time to dig into that. But the bottom line is we are prepared with existing revenue streams to put $300 million on the table toward that contribution. With that, I think we stand for questions.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Any pressing questions?